Hello, I'm John Middleton, Professor Emeritus at California State University, Monterey Bay. And I also serve on the nominating committee for Q. And today we're talking to candidates running for the board of that outstanding organization. The nominating committee hopes these discussions will help you make an informed decision about that important ballot vote you'll cast for your Q leadership. So let's just start. Lisa, hello. And what's
Hi,
your name, your title, and what was your first experience with Q?
great. I'm Lisa DeLapo. I am the current Vice President and Treasurer of Q, but I'm also in my full-time work is the Director of Technology. Actually, the official title is Director of Information and Instructional Technology at Union School District in San Jose. My very first experience with Q was with East Bay Q. I went to one of their Cool Tools conferences in the early 2000s. And I was immediately hooked by Nicole DeLassio and Lisa Highfill and a bunch of other East Bay reps from Q, and they hooked me, and I've been hooked ever since. And I went into East Bay Q as their onto their board as soon as I could, and like I said, I've been hooked ever since.
That Q has a way of doing that to you. Um,
Totally.
could you tell me a little bit more about yourself and why you particularly want to serve on the board of directors?
Sure. So, Brian Briggs, who's also running, we've always talked about being on the board together because we did Q and merit things together with the KCI. And so we've always talked about how we want to make Q more of a member oriented leadership model and make it more centered towards members having a voice, and especially the affiliates, because the affiliates are the reason we're here. So both coming from local affiliates, we decided to run, and it was in that work that we got to see how Q became like this one mothership organization, but we wanted to keep giving the voice back. So it has empowered us to give affiliates a lot more voice. And I think when they attend the Leadership Development Institute this summer, they'll see a lot of that work coming out. I think with the strategic plan, really trying to raise new voices and increase the diversity, inclusivity, and equity pieces that we really need to work on as an organization as well. I think that work needs to continue and needs to be a lot more prevalent and a little bit of a stronger push. And so those are two of the things that we really are currently working on as board members, and we want to continue that work and make sure we see it through so that can be um, something that's just becomes part of what Q is all about.
Well, that leadership is very important. Now, the third question is one we ask every year, but it seems strange or this year because we're asking, what are the greatest challenges we have in education? And we know that 1 year of COVID and now beginning to opening schools, there's lots of challenges. But what do you see as the greatest challenge we have as educators, and how can Q and the Q leadership help?
Well, I think being part of change has always been something that's really been hard for educators in general. Um, Being somebody who's on the tech side of education as well as having been a teacher, I feel like we have to embrace that technology changes every year and every second really. There's a new device or a new tool or something that's coming out, and I do believe that we need to figure out how to open up that mindset of flexibility. And I think Dave Culberson says something about VUCA and it being a VUCA world, and we have to be able to think on our feet and change on a dime and be agile. And I think that's what we need to do for our students. We need to prepare our kids for that kind of world where everything is constantly changing, and it's no longer about regurgitation, but it's more about the pedagogical piece of critical thinking and problem solving. So I think Q definitely can help there, but I also think that pushing the UDL pieces of every learner counting, and as well as every learner being valued, and especially with the Black Lives Matter and the equity pieces that Q is just scratching the surface on now. It needs to go deeper, and so I think those are some major challenges that we have as educators, and we need to address them. And Q can totally help, especially with groups like the Q EALN and LDI and other, committees and organizations that are within Q.
Well, we do have a lot of challenges, but challenges give us, of course, great opportunities. So
Absolutely.
I'm sure we'll have quite a few of those in the coming year. First, I want to thank you on behalf of the nominating committee for the leadership you've already shown to Q, and that your willingness to step up and run to the Q board. And for those of you watching, please be sure to watch all the other candidate interviews and look out for your ballot, which will be showing up, because we know how important voting is. And so with that, thank you so much for spending time with us.
Thank you. It's been an honor.